What is up, guys? It's HogeezHoagies, and I'm back in another video for you all. Today, we're going to be continuing on with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Because we have new content. New content. New content, but newer. Like new Super Mario Bros. 2.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I'm well aware that it's a story of a man named Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
It means
Stanley
we're going to the
decided to
new
meeting
content
room.
door.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No, we're not going to the meeting room. We're going to the new content. Look at that. Oh my god.
Good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay. We're going. Where are you taking me, Mr. Narrator Man? Wherever it is, I trust you wholeheartedly. Mr. Narrator Man would never betray me. Well, what do we have here? Got an elevator. New content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Whoa! The Stanley Parable 2!
Yes, see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
It really is. That's crazy. That's a screenshot if I've ever seen one. Time to wake up, Stanley. That's crazy. New mug? Bro, they got new mugs. I wanna read the mug. I still can't jump. The end is never the end. Again. The Stanley Parable 2
is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
True.
Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2,
sequel.
now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Indeed. You know what? You got me hooked, Mr. Narrator Man. Hey, yo? You're running Windows 10? Okay. Ooh, fancy glass doors. 2. New content is out. New content part 2 is in. Old and busted and new hotness. Boring sections of the chart. Cool red section of the chart. I agree. They're back. The 2 doors. 2. No, I want to read it. I can't read it. 2 Times New Roman 2 2 Rocket Pop half italic 2 Orbitron Sci-Fi a Road Geek Transport Heavy, that's what the second one says. 2 League Gothic Regular 2 Sooty for the casual underwear 2 Shackleton 2 Keep on Trucking. Is that like different fonts they're trying to use for the 2? 1 + 1 is 2 - 1 is 1 + 1 is 2 - 1. Don't talk to me before I've had my sequel. Every pause button is a Roman numeral 2. That's crazy. Meeting it 2 Sincerely Management. 1 More the Stanley Parable. 2 Better Stanley Parable. The win-win. 2 wins. That's crazy. The color red. Interesting. 2 is better than 1. 1 took 3rd place, damn. Hey, Yo. Okay, okay. Logo idea. I'm liking that one. I'm liking this one. This one's cool. Last edit was 28 minutes ago. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, I see where you're going with this. No. No. Thanks for attending my meeting. I like this one. This one's cool. I like this one. I can't advance to the next slide. That's unfortunate. Okay.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it.
Gotcha.
I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out.
That's
Game
true.
development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Honestly, true. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham City, Asylum 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar. I agree. Sequels are good. Crab, the ultimate sequel. 2. Oh god. The prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel to the Stanley Parable is the prequel to the Stanley Parable 2 is a... Jesus Christ. Valued investors, this way, let's show floor. But if I want to go the other way? New features. Okay. This is the show floor. Do I wait here? New feature, or do I just keep going? I keep going. Okay, cool. Because we're going to Expo Hall 2. I see. Woohoo! Hey, yo!
Here we are.
Reassurance bucket.
Try out some of the new features.
Welcome to the showcase. I saw the new content. Merch. Oh, come on. Alright. Let me get my phone out. I'm gonna scan this. No, I got the QR code. It actually leads to thestanleyparable2.com. Welcome to the official website of Stanley Parable 2. A sequel, huh? Crazy. That's new! That's crazy. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of the exhibit. I will enjoy the rest of the exhibit. I'm so happy that that exists. That's crazy. 2 doors. The end is never the end. Again. Office decorations is Stanley Parable. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the... No shot! That is new. Hear your name in the game. Name, hear yours today. Everyone's got one. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game. That's fucking crazy. That's nuts.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want?
Too
and
big.
of course,
Why?
the first and
way
most
too
obvious
small.
answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated
I
as
agree.
people.
Just
So with
right.
that in
I don't know. That one
mind,
also
my
looks a
first
little
addition to
too
the
big.
game is this button, which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
That's crazy. What's it gonna say?
Jim.
Oh.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll
I got
love
you.
it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Okay.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust.
I want to do that.
Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
I think so.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
My name is Jim.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Okay.
Jim.
It hits even harder the
It
second
is so
time.
hard my game froze.
If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the
It
money.
would be.
Let's take a break from the gym button. I'm
The
too
gym
emotionally
button.
drained from all of this personal validation.
Okay, but I want to hit it again.
Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim.
I'm
putting
Jim.
the gym button away.
No!
Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
But I'm Jim.
Jim.
But I'm Jim. I'm Jim. But I want to be Jim. Hello, what do we got here? It's too low quality for me to read, damn. No more Jim. That is what we in the business like to call unfortunate. Oh, I can't even click these buttons, damn. I just wanted to be Jim, man. Why can't you let me be Jim?
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would
True.
actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Through a whole new office, AO. Reddy's the new orange, okay. The baby is all grown up? Oh, that's crazy, and he's on his way to bankruptcy. The new updated ray traced, more of the same, but in a good way, sequel to the... You buzzing up there? New features, new content, new ideas. Consistent quality with just the right amount of change. Nice. Jumps. Yo, the jump circle's back? Oh, wow. This map, free achievement. Merch, settings, world champion, the Stanley Parable reassurance bucket office. There's a lot of shit. Holy crap. Infinite hole. It won't end. Hey, yo, free achievement? Get yours right now. Pull the lever. Receive your new achievement. No more steps. It just works. Just like Skyrim.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Give me. Fine. Meanie head. I just wanted my achievement. Was that really too much to ask? Couldn't give me my damn achievement.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Aww. Infinite hole. It won't end. What the hell's in there? I ought to visit all these side doors at some point. But first, the infinite hole. Surrounding area. Crazy. More hole. Infinity. Science. Question mark. It just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game.
Never.
This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Really?
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games.
I
as a
agree.
medium.
That's quite stunning. I can't think of literally any game that's ever done that before. Whew. We're falling.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Ah! Press G to return to the surface.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top.
But
We do it on the
infinite hole.
sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
But infinite hole. Look, I'm falling forever.
Okay,
Isn't this
Stanley,
crazy?
I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Oh.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole.
I sure did.
You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever.
Oh, it's
Look,
okay.
I
It was
think
still
the
cool.
issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
You know what? That actually is the
What normal
case.
person actually wants to fall infinitely.
A
I
few
figured
people.
the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't
No,
you
that's
put
true.
this on
This is
me.
fine.
Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean.
I said
Why
nothing
don't
of the
we
sort.
just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite?
You know what?
If that works for you,
I'm okay
then
with that.
Go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
What if I'm not ready, though? What if I want to look at all the cool notes down here? Really? Just the two of us? We can make it if we try. Though these maidens may seem kind, there's nothing going on behind. Didn't expect to find a Stupendium reference here. It's probably not a Stupendium reference, and I'm actually just stupid, but whatever. Why are there a bunch of cigarettes at the bottom? What the hell, man? Mr. Nair, oh, have you been smoking? Mr. Nair, we talked about this. Mr. Narrator, we talked about this. I thought you told me you'd quit. God. I'm disappointed in you, Mr. Narrator.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
I'm fucking disappointed in you, Mr. Narrator. So disappointed. Interesting. So what's this door over here?
Okay, I'll be
Ooh.
honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm
Ooh.
undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Probably get well someday.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
Oh, fuck
Happy
you.
12th birthday, step-niece it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
God.
Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly.
Wow.
But we all have to move on from our mistakes.
You're an asshole, Mr. Narrator. You know what? We're not friends anymore. Oh, we're back here. Okay. I'll check out the bucket last. What's the collectibles? Already checked out the infinite hole, checked out the jump circle. Let me look at the collectibles. Can you find them? Can you find them? Can you find them? Can you find them? Ooh. What the hell?
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines.
What the hell
what's
is
truly
this?
innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them.
Really?
I don't
That's
want to
crazy.
stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply
True.
collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Crazy. You found it. I sure did, didn't I?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely
I agree.
tragic.
Alright, what settings world champion? I need to find that one. Where is settings world champion? Alright, so I'm at 5 this map. Crazy. So the jump circle is right behind me to the left. Okay. So through the door to the left? So right here? I just came through here. What? What the hell? Let's see. Yeah, it should be directly across from the merch. Settings world champion. Should be right here. What the hell? It's supposed to be right here. Alright. Guess it doesn't exist. Other than that, I think I've seen everything there is to see aside from the Stanley Parable reassurance bucket. Let's see the Stanley Parable 2 reassurance
A common
bucket.
complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical.
Just pick it up.
That it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game.
Interesting.
It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
Reassurance
You see, Stanley,
bucket.
anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart.
Interesting.
As
Really?
long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting.
Really?
You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the
Can you imagine what a
perfect
pain in the ass that would
solution.
be?
Give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
This
I think
is a
that just
bucket.
holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Aww.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
This is a bucket. Dear God. There's more. No. It contains the reassurance of every man in this room. There's a little red chair here. Can I drop the bucket? No? Alright, I think I've seen everything.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That
They should.
really
It should be an award
if it
because
isn't
I am so enjoyed right now. I'm creating a new word. This is enjoyed to me. It's so enjoyable that I am now enjoyed. I was about to say, is the exit blocked off? No, it's just upstairs. I am filled with a sense of joy and determination, but mostly joy.
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to?
I have.
Ready to move on now?
Yep. I'm ready to proceed with my bucket. Hello, new mug.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Dude, I love the
know
bucket.
It's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment.
I feel it in my bones.
I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Okay. I got you.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, I have more jumps.
Well, I mean, there's potential.
Let me go down there.
Right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind.
Let me go down there.
Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
No, let me go down there.
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
No, the other one is better. Let me go down there. I want to play it.
This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
I want to play it.
And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything.
No, I want to play
I
it.
wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game.
You did.
I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own.
But they
would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect,
Like hide a collectible onto the
with
desk.
care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work?
I feel like it
I suppose
could.
it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right,
Okay. Did you whip
Go
something
ahead. Take a look.
up? Wait. Ayo? This is sick as fuck! Okay? Auto walk input will alternate between walking and stopping. Interesting. Okay. Let's go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Indeed.
Stanley worked for a company
The
in a big building
balloons.
where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, Frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
That's crazy.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe, man. He's playing solitaire in there. That's crazy.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up.
Where's the bucket?
Why was he not doing it?
Where's the bucket? Where? The bucket!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
I found the bucket. It's my bucket. I'm very happy with the bucket. I didn't notice the bucket, sir. I'm sorry.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know what? You gave me the bucket. I feel like I have to.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Gotcha. Broom closet. What? Broom closet.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say.
Well, the broom closet can suck it.
It's to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket.
I see a spot right there for it.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
It's a companion bucket.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I can.
Name calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stan,
How dare!
I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner?
This bucket is my friend.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Fuck you, broom closet! That is all. I'm happy with that.
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate. No more discussion.
It's my bucket.
Take a hike, broom closet, with
Fuck
all your
you,
meandering
broom closet.
philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of
It is
things.
my bucket. I don't even know if I can put it down. Yeah, I don't think I can.
All right,
Gee.
I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
Bucket.
See? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself,
This is a
it's
bucket.
There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
It's a bucket. Dear God. I have a bucket.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display.
I
You
am
can
too,
stay
man.
here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies.
I'm showing this room
Easily
to
the
the
most
boss.
childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I'm showing this broom closet who's boss. You see this bucket in my hand? I don't even think I have a button to drop it. It's my broom closet. It's my bucket, not my broom closet. Fuck you, broom closet. No one ever loved you. You see this dirty mop bucket here? I bet you it's about as dirty as all the Steam reviews are about this broom closet. Because this broom closet deserves nothing more than to be hated. Because it wants my bucket. And it can never have my bucket. You want to know why? Because this bucket is mine. And you're just a fucking filthy broom closet. Yeah, that's right. Fuck you. I've come to make an announcement. The broom closet is a bitch-ass motherfucker. He tried to steal my fucking bucket.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
We sure did.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation,
Oh, no.
Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos.
I love this
It
bucket.
would be with him, always.
This bucket is my
The
friend.
bucket would. And he knew it.
Can I play piano?
The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk.
Oh.
Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
Ah.
Eight.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
What about boob? It's not boob. Sad face.
2845. But
Oh, I
Stanley guessed
did
the
it!
correct code
Wow,
by
that's
sheer luck.
crazy. By
Was it
sheer
the
luck.
bucket knew all along?
The bucket did
Was
know
the
all along. The bucket was guiding me.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
See the pin to the lock, the code thing? It was actually just written on a piece of paper inside the bucket the whole time. The bucket gave me everything I needed to know. This bucket is the best thing that has ever happened to my life.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown
Hear that,
fate.
Tasty? You've been usurped by a
It would
bucket.
be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Everything will be okay. That's what this
Stanley and the
bucket
bucket
told me.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
We sure did.
The lights rose
Whoa.
on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket
No.
both wondered to themselves.
There's so many screens. Cameras.
Monitors jumped to
Whoa.
life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock.
But I didn't.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into
It's
tears.
okay, bucket, I
as
got you.
Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Everything's gonna be okay, bucket. I promise.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence
No.
as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
Bucket, no.
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place?
This bucket
These
wants to be my
questions
friend.
raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
This bucket is my friend.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
Never.
He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
This is my bucket.
At this point,
There are many like
he
it, but
could
this one is
trust
mine.
no one except for the bucket.
I trust this bucket with my goddamn life.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
What?
operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
We're gonna crash this party, said the bucket.
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
I'm proud of us, bucket. We did it. We saved the world.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
Is that it?
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy,
We did
freed
it, Bucket.
themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil
I always knew we could do
mind-control
it, Bucket.
machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
I can
Both
teach
of
the
them
bucket how to
wanted
roller
begin
skate.
watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and What? Wait.
Door
What was
stuck.
happening? Why had the
Door
door stopped?
stuck.
Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An
me
unbearable
out.
silence filled the room,
Let me out.
lingering in uncertainty. Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms.
You'll
Not
never
while
take my
this
bucket
building has
alive.
anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
I have my bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Was that it?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We sure didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I know.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
I did.
Telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was
Yes.
this better than the meeting room?
Yes.
Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
The bucket was correct.
How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
The bucket
Stanley
was
took
not
the
wrong.
door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, he didn't.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
Yes, sir.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Okay, bucket.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't
This
talk.
bucket can,
But
because this
Stanley
bucket
chose
is my
not to
friend.
think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yes. This bucket is my friend.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
What dark
Stanley
room?
once again obeyed blindly.
But there's only one room available and it's not very dark. Oh, that one.
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Okay, bucket. Anything for you.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Could the bucket not speak to me? Was the bucket lying? What? Oh, bucket. It's me, your bucket. Press U to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders.
My bucket does.
Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
No. Press C to take me back home with you. This bucket is my friend, and this bucket would never lead me astray.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object?
How dare you?
I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Press N to go back to work. Okay,
I'll
bucket.
try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think.
Mr. Narrator?
It can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
I thought you told
That's
me
it.
this bucket was my friend.
It doesn't do anything else.
But I thought you told me this bucket was my friend, Mr. Narrator. You told me this bucket would reassure me. You told me this bucket would give me a comforting glow of friendship. Don't listen to the loud man. Press Q for us to go back home. Okay.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk
How
of
dare
metal.
you? This is my bucket. Press G to ignore anyone in your life except for me. Yes, sir, bucket.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine.
It's very shiny. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press H to go back home. I can remember where H is on my keyboard.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
Not at all. This is
Just
my
a little
bucket.
more, what am I trying to say?
This is my bucket.
Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
This is my bucket. Press I to relive the same day with me over and over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's
my
literally
bucket.
just a bucket.
It's my
Why do
bucket.
I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Because it's my bucket. Press P to go home, to work, to home, to work, to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
My bucket! You can't have it. It's mine.
Stanley, give me the bucket.
No.
Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it.
You don't need
Give
the
it to
bucket.
me now.
It's
Give
mine.
it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley. Yes, bucket. Whatever you say, Bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley
means
decided to go
bucket.
to the meeting room. Perhaps the confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Yes.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
I sure did.
and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here.
That's crazy.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
No, we didn't. Ayo.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember,
did.
no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done.
I'm well aware.
You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Yes, sir.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Because the bucket can't
That's
talk.
strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
What?
And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's
What?
just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone
it says property of
else's
Stanley.
bucket, perhaps. How did I
says
end up
it's my
with someone
bucket.
else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely
No.
no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
But that, I thought that was my bucket.
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
Oh
Now
no.
he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He
What
rushed
happened?
forward from room to room, passing by one bucket.
What happened? Did I die? Did
All
the
of his
game
co-workers
unload?
were gone. What could it mean?
All right, let's
decided
try
to go to the
again.
meeting room. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered
Okay, let's
the
try that
door
one
on his
again.
left.
I fell through the ground. Oh, I see. A 666 lol. Interesting. Trust the completionist instinct. Oh, wow. This is all new. Shut the freak up. Bottom text. Wouldn't you like to know? How can you tell you spotted one? What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Interesting. Interesting. A large room with lots of boxes near a fireplace. A private but certainly place for an important person. Interesting.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket
No, we
walked
didn't.
upstairs to the boss's office.
We went
But
insane
Stanley
instead.
just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Maybe.
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Am I crazy,
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps.
No.
How did I end up with someone else's bucket?
What?
This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this.
My bucket
Who
is
knows
gone.
what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically
No.
grounding presence of his bucket.
Whatever am I going to do without my bucket?
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Gracious, he exclaimed.
I'm floating.
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it.
I must find
Far
the
off
bucket.
in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find
It's two
me.
buckets inside each other.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony. Out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security,
Like
and
anyone
walked to
would.
her place of work.
No.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
Oh no.
Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
Yep.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself. My life kicks ass.
Heck yeah,
And
my
she
life kicks
backflipped
ass.
all the way to work.
She what? She backflipped all the way to work? God damn, Mariella kicks ass.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
Yep. I want to be alone. Fuck you, bucket. Nah, I can't leave without the bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
No, he
chest.
didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Stanley was well
Stanley
aware.
had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be
No.
correct? No, never mind. The bucket was
The
wrong.
bucket wasn't wrong.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
No, he didn't. Bye. The bucket told me to go down. Because the bucket's cool.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
We care about you, Stanley. Wow.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley.
We've come together here because we care about you very much.
It's the baby.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket
And my
isn't
wife.
even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the adventure line.
It's
and
the
Broom
adventure
Closet.
line.
Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes,
I want the
know
bucket.
I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
How dare you?
Don't you want another story involving the adventure line?
I mean, I would,
We
actually.
could make the adventure line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay, but I want to sit in the broom closet for a second. Okay, that is all. Alright, where's the adventure line taking me today?
Whee! Look at that
Whee!
wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is
Where's
all
my
about.
silly music?
Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
What?
It's as classic now as it was back then.
What was
Let's
that?
do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this.
What was
But
that
if we
about
want to do
drugs and
that,
hookers?
You're going to have to give something up.
No. You can't make me give up the bucket. Anyway, where's my silly music? I want my silly music.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character.
Really?
This is the Bucket Destroyer.
No.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it
No, no,
also
no,
was
no,
not
no,
in
no,
the
no,
original
no,
game,
no,
but it's
no,
such
no,
a
no,
well
no, no,
fleshed
no,
out
no, no,
character
no,
with so
no,
much
no, 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 no,
personality
no, no.
that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Let me out. I can't.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
It gives me a new
Surely
haircut.
you don't need me to spell it out for you.
No.
Go ahead now, Stanley.
Never.
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
No. Never. Let me turn it off. Let me escape. Give me my 36 jumps,
Now
you
listen to
fucker.
me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying
It will
buckets
do
is all
whatever
it knows.
it can.
That is its singular personality trait.
It's not going to destroy the
I
bucket.
can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
It can
Well,
never
you see,
live up to the
if you were
bucket.
to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits.
Don't care.
What other object in this game can you even say that about?
The
Broom
bucket.
closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We
don't
can't
care.
get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly
Not gonna
now.
happen.
The fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the
No.
fans what they want. Hurry and...
Hello, Bucket Destroyer. How are you?
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
I'm never giving up my bucket. Never. Fuck you, Bucket Destroyer. I think we got
All
enough
this
time for
co-workers
one more
were
ending.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The good old bucket.
The
Just
good old
Stanley
bucket.
and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way
Oh,
to
I'm
the
well
meeting
aware.
room.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
Yep.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be
No.
correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
The bucket was not wrong.
Stanley took the door on his
I'm
left
simply going
to go
on my
back to the
own
meeting
path.
room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Something about buckets. Going
Coming to
up.
the staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
We did indeed. And I walked this way. I don't remember what's this way, but we're going this way. Okay, I'm done with the elevator. That was all. Executive bathrooms. Oh, hey.
Another miniature Stanley figurine.
Crazy.
Yes, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes.
No, I don't like that one.
Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I don't like that one. I don't like that name.
Stepping
Something about
into
a
his manager's
fireplace, it
office,
said.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his dark, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Indeed.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Yes.
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
All right. I feel like there should be a figurine. There it is.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines
I like Figlies.
and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley?
I like
What
Figly.
name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
I like Figly. Stanley. Do 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 do. Stanley.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door
No, he
that
didn't.
read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Oh no.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I know.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
I'm well aware. We're gonna die, Bucket, but we're gonna die together.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be
It's
sure,
not
it
meaningless.
puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
This bucket has never betrayed me. See?
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Aha! Fuck you, narrator. The bucket saved my life.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Indeed. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and sustained. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we ever have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
I think it's a little bit more than 25 buckets, but okay. A bucket with 2 handles? Too dangerous and recklessly experimental. I agree. Inferno bucket. Ooh. No one can control a bucket. I agree. Ooh. Cave drawing of bucket. Distress bucket. An analogy. Ah. Coping strategies. Holes. Presented without commentary. Gotcha. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Note in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, for our own good. I grabbed the bucket. It is my bucket.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Oh yeah? Give me back my bucket.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take his place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
I think Stanley died. But at least the bucket went along with me. We died together. Just as we lived.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
It meant that I died
Stanley
with a bucket.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
There are
a memo.
a few places I've yet to visit.
Today, the bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be... Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
He sure did.
Telling him that the employee lounge
Oh, I do need
was
to
simply
check
place to
the meeting
and
room.
here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was
I
this
need to
no-
see
Never
the
mind.
collectibles.
The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I really don't want to. God.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo. Good, said the bucket.
I'm going that way.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
I don't care what you need me to do, Bucket.
Stanley
I'm
did
going
not
that way.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
No, Stanley did think
He
about
was
this
firmly
obvious
convinced
fact.
that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
He sure didn't. Danger. Danger everywhere. 2B from near automata?
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets
No.
past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here?
I'm
Unless,
sorry.
what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
But you told me
I
this is a
suppose that
bucket.
would explain a lot about your behavior up to this
You told me
point,
this was a
which,
bucket.
If that's true, well, my goodness. I think we have to do something about it.
What do you think we have to do about it, huh?
This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if
Oh,
not
yeah?
addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Really?
Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay. Is this a bucket?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
Okay.
Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin.
Welcome to Is This a Bucket?
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct.
Yay!
This is a bucket.
Third time's the charm.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
You know what? Sure.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. It's
That
a
is
sort of gimmick.
correct.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up?
Listen, I'm sorry.
Incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
You know what? It was a gimme. That's on me.
Is this a bucket?
Yes. This one's very clearly a bucket. See?
Correct. This is a bucket.
Obviously. Duh.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No, this one's not a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What? What do you mean? Is it a bucket and not a bucket?
Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
This is a bucket.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something.
Nothing
and
is
therefore
a bucket.
Nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. Yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
No, you're a narrator. I can tell you that one.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever
You're not
had
a bucket.
to begin with.
I
I'm afraid
You
the bucket
are a
is
bucket.
threatening to tear our relationship apart.
I don't
can't
have a
have that.
choice.
I'm
You
sorry.
are a bucket.
But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No!
Okay, here we go.
But everything's a bucket. Did you erase
What
yourself?
happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Everything's a bucket.
was everything a bucket?
Yes.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket.
Yes.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all.
I'm
And
so proud of you.
Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either.
I'm not a
Oh,
bucket.
this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity.
You're
on
not
the
a
issue.
bucket, Mr.
But it doesn't
Narrator. I'm
change
proud
the
of you.
fact that we haven't got a game.
True.
So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Okay.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. And
Indeed.
if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that.
True.
Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, Here we go.
Can't think of any other endings that I could get.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
I do want to look at the meeting room.
Meeting room. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a
humble bucket.
a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You sure did. I have no idea where I'm going.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's
I suppose
office.
we did.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code
I did
by
it.
sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yep, it was written
the
on a note
bucket
inside the bucket.
guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yep.
Stanley and the bucket
Whoa.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Mind control facility.
The lights rose on an
Whoa.
enormous room packed with television screens.
It sure did.
What horrible secret did this place hold?
Let me walk.
Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
I did wonder, but the bucket's got me. I believe in the bucket.
The monitors jumped to life,
Whoa.
and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears.
It's okay,
as
Bucket, I got
Stanley
you.
cradled it gently, reassuring it that
You'll be
everything
okay,
would be
Bucket.
fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want
The
to do?
bucket
in
wants
the
to do
first
your
place?
mother.
These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
The bucket wants to be my
No!
friend and nothing
He
more.
screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
I agree. This
But
bucket is
here
my
was the
one
proof.
true friend.
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world.
Yep.
They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
We're gonna take down the system. By taking it over. Take over,
But at
it's
the
time to
last
boogie
second, the bucket
down.
jumped in and pressed the
Why?
button to turn
The
on
bucket
the
did that?
controls. Stanley gasped in
Bucket,
horror.
no!
Had this been the Bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
No.
How could the
Bucket, how
betray
could
him
you?
like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Silly birds!
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
You know what? I'm okay with silly birds. Bucket, I always believe
Stanley
in you.
flipped through one video of silly birds after another.
I like these silly
and then
birds.
it
These are my
dawned
favorite
on
silly
him.
birds.
This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The
Silly
mind
birds.
controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the Bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands.
Silly
the one who had
birds.
pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the Bucket
It's a
never
goose.
found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place.
It's a
living
goose.
through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
It's such a silly
Of all
goose.
the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best.
This one is the best.
Stanley was happy.
Thank you, Bucket. Very cool. I don't think we're ever gonna get a better ending than that. That was the best ending I could have possibly gotten. I became friends with the Bucket, and the Bucket showed me a silly goose. Never in my life have I felt such joy. I say with my fiance in the same room. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I will see you later. Bye! Just like last time, I'm gonna make the promise of I'll find more endings. Eventually, maybe.